thank you so much for coming out tonight, and thank you, John, for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm Alyson Croft. I don't know if you don't know me, that's who I am. I'm a coach. I'm also an actor. And I have been coaching for a few years and then officially opened the Actors Cartel about six years ago. Just a little bit about me. I started my career at 6. I got my SAG card at 6. Been working ever since. Bought my mom a house at 13. These are the highlights, right? So I was the actor that always, I worked a lot. So I worked and worked and worked, and then I went to performing arts schools, and then I worked. But I was never the girl that got the big job, you know, the one that like took me on a series for 5 years, or, you know, the Tim Burton Beetlejuice, it went to Winona Ryder, which was great, you know, but I never got that big job. So I've always consistently worked through auditioning. So I've probably been on not as many auditions as John has been through. I've been on a lot. So when I was a teen, I realized, you know, I love acting, but I love the craft of acting. So I wanted to learn and go deeper. So I wanted to go to Yale and wanted to do all of these things. Didn't do that. But joined a theater company that Anthony Barneo had run, who is my mentor, and some people that are here are actually part of that theater company as well. So I bring that up because there was a creative environment that was established there that I take with me today. You know, we swept floors, we developed plays, we worked together outside, and that was years ago. And I wrote plays. I got my plays produced. Then I won awards, and I was like, where is this taking me? Which kind of reminds me a bit of John's book in terms of how he ended up, where he ended up, being open creatively to what is out there for you and what presents itself if you have that kind of mentality about the work and about acting and about the arts in general. So I swept the floors, we did all of that, the light booth, I was in the light booth with probably 2 of these guys.
No wonder you could find the difference.
Yeah, I was like, I've been up here a million times. You know, one of our friends is a USC professor now teaching acting, another one's on The Good Doctor as a series regular. Like, you never know who you're gonna meet along the way, but that inclusivity and that creative environment that I thrive on, and that he implements in his casting office, if you've been lucky enough to go in and read for him. But that's what I'm doing with the Actors Cartel as well. So we have classes on Tuesdays and we have classes on Wednesdays. Tuesdays is Zoom, Wednesdays is in the evening, 7 o'clock in person. Class is supposed to be a place where you're thriving, right? And it's not this like desperate cringe of grinding to like book the self-tape. Because that's not what a career makes. You want a book, but you also want to have joy in your life and bring that to the work. And if you're not having a fulfilling life, your work is going to suck. I like to foster that, and I attract those people, and they stay and they're consistent and they work consistently, and they're always trying new things and expressing themselves in new different ways, because it's about the work at the end of the day, and people like this acknowledge that. So I'm a coach. I hold the flashlight while you guys do the digging. You go deep, you go dark, you go ugly, and that's the beauty of it. And that's what I like to foster in my classes and with the people I work with. So welcome, John Frank Levey.
Thanks so much for the opportunity to get to meet these folks and talk to them about the things we share in terms of ideas and approaches and a little bit about my story and my career, and an opportunity to share this book that took up my time during the pandemic. And I just told Alyson that yesterday we passed 1,000 sales on Amazon alone, and not good. And when I first started the project, I said to my co-author, Trudy Roth, I'm not sure I have anything to say. I know I have some stories, but I don't know what the book's about. And really the book is about what Alyson was just talking about. It's about, you know, the title is right for the role, and that's the casting pun. Obviously, every actor wants to be right for every role. But I was very fortunate because I found a role I was right for. And I found a collaborative, respectful community of people who I got a chance to contribute to. And I did my part, and so many other members of the community were such good collaborators that we ended up having quite a lot of success together, and and a whole lot of fun too.
Mm-hmm. So you call yourself a vibist in the book. Can you give us a little explanation as to what that means when
Sure.
it comes to believability with actors when they walk in the room?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have for a very long time, even as a kid, I had a sense of who other people were, and what they seemed like, or whether they were what I got off of them. I got them. And sometimes it was a blessing, and sometimes it was a curse. I had a complicated mom, and I was always able to, within seconds of coming home from school, to go, okay, tonight's going to be that kind of night. Or, oh, good, tonight's going to be that kind of night. And it's an instinctive sense of your quality. I hate to say that an actor is a certain type. I never liked that phrase. But you do present certain qualities. And I think it's important for you to know what those qualities are. And the way you can find that out is by kind of cataloging how the world treats you. You know, if when you go to the dry cleaner, the person behind the counter doesn't pay attention to you for 50 seconds, you sort of seem timid. If everybody's always flirting with you, you kind of seem sexually present. If you're on an elevator and the door opens and Allison's there with her 11-year-old son, the basketball star, and she decides not to get onto the elevator with you, you probably seem dangerous. If everybody's always confiding in you, you seem trustworthy. And I think it's important for you. I never did it myself, but I think it would be great for young actors or beginning actors or middle actors or stars to journal about your mundane interactions with other people, and to kind of get a sense of how you come off, how people see you. And for me as a casting director, having that instinct was a great asset, because I could, you were saying that you played the scumbag, dangerous person on the in a car who is am I looking at the right person?
No, he's like, it's actually what we're working on. Wait, did you get that from him, John?
No,
Did you get that? No,
I just saw the beard and the long hair.
That's our goal. We're trying to get him dangerous.
I've since interacted with this gentleman a couple of times, and I know that he is actually not a dangerous, rude scumbag, but he can play one on television.
People will avoid me in long hallways, though.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. So, that's what I mean by a vibist. And just parenthetically, a very dear friend of mine who read the book in an early draft of it said, you don't mean that. A vibist is somebody who plays the vibraphones. Change that. And I was like, no. I think of myself as getting your vibe. That makes me a vibist.
I like it. I think it fits too. So let's go to page 3. You mentioned a moment that was like going to church.
Yeah.
Would you like to explain that? Or?
Sure. I was. My mom took me to incredibly inappropriate plays off Broadway in New York. We lived in the Bronx, and she made me put on this ridiculous sweater, and my brother refused to go, but I went. And I think a lot of 13 to 16-year-old boys particularly are pretty lost You know, they're so busy trying to figure it out or please somebody or, you know, do okay. And I was certainly that. We went to see a play. I think America was in the title. I don't remember the rest of it, but it was a predominantly African American cast, and there was a young girl who was playing the part of a kid who desegregated a school. And two things happened. One, she was arresting. Beautiful, you know, way too young for me at the time, but I waited 10 years and she was never mind. But she was spectacular. And also she lost her line in the middle of this speech that she had. And she stayed in. And after what seemed like a year, it probably was 10 seconds, she said line, and the stage manager fed her, and she went on. And I thought that was sort of miraculous, that she maintained her connection, and that I discovered in that moment that I think the way people, I'm not a religious person and didn't have a religious upbringing, but it made me think that there was something miraculous going on that could rescue you when you were in trouble. And I think that's what I meant by it being an experience that was like what other people encountered in mosques or temples or churches. Or
Absolutely. So you said, sitting in a dark theater, this is page 3 if anybody has the... Sitting in a dark theater, I discovered what would become the thrust of my life, my interest in human beings and human nature. I always want to know what happened and why.
Yeah, and what's going to happen next. Mm-hmm. You know, if you want to be an actor and you want to be in the storytelling business as a casting director or pretty much any of the disciplines in our craft and in our industry, you have to love people. You have to care about people and their stories, and you have to sort of you embrace the moment that you're in, and you wonder with great curiosity about where it came from mm-hmm. and where it's headed. Mm-hmm. And you know, that was one of the great things about working on ER, was that we didn't do the beginning or the end very often. We really did the middle of every story, and we left you an opportunity to speculate about where the character came from and what was going to happen next. That curiosity about our lives is what connects us and what gives us the opportunity to create art.
You'd be surprised how many people come into class and they think that they are the center and then the story just sits around them mm-hmm. and then I mention it and then they have an ego reaction to it and then it's like they don't quite, it's hard to get it. When you get it, you get it.
Yeah,
right?
A wonderful acting teacher I studied with a long time ago said to all of us, no, your performance is over there. Mm-hmm. It's in the other character mm-hmm. and what they say to you, what they bring to you, how you feel about it, what they make you think and feel, and that's the stimulus of your performance. And if you don't guide it and you just really react to what you get from the other character, and you know what the words are, so you know what you're supposed to say, but you know, the words aren't literal always. Sometimes shut up means kiss me, mm-hmm. right?
Sure. Not that that's my experience, but yes.
Well, I had a double major in the theater and psychology, mm-hmm. and so when I got out of college, in Rochester, New York, where I last wore this scarf, my friends were in a rock and roll band, and another group of my friends were importing clothing from Afghanistan. Sherpa jackets and those funny hats and all, you know. And I didn't want to do. I'm tone deaf, so I couldn't do the first part, and I didn't want to go to Afghanistan at all. So I got a job at the University of Rochester Medical Center in a 24-hour suicide prevention telephone thing, and again, it fostered my empathy and my connection with people's stories, and I found it fascinating and easy to empathize. I think my favorite call ever, a woman called and she was absolutely hysterical, crying. And after trying to calm her down first, I said, why are you crying? And she said, I came home to our new home from shopping, and I was driving a little too fast and I skidded on the driveway, and the car is halfway in the living room window. And my husband is going to be home in 10 minutes, and I'm worried that he's going to kill me. So.
Were you like, wrong number, lady? This is for suicide.
No, but it was fascinating, and stories like that were always kind of interesting.
For sure.
Was that the whole question?
Yeah, that was it. I was just trying to see, like, if that was something that you gravitated towards because of your, interest in humanity.
Yeah. Also, I got
easier.
to play poker with a lot of the doctors who thought that I was just a stoned hippie and that they were likely to take my whatever money I brought, and I often won.
Yeah, I'm sure. The poker face, for sure. Okay, so page 30, you go on to mention things that casting is looking for, and there's several things. Do you want me to read what that says? Let me get there. 30. In casting, we are looking for several things at once. Are you talented? Are you right for the role? Which is to say, do you convey the qualities that the character requires? Under this heading are questions like, do you feel vulnerable? Do you feel like you can handle things with ease? Are you an asshole? No, I'm just kidding, you put that in there. I put that in there. Do you radiate intelligence, or do you feel more instinctive? Do I want to spend the day with this personality?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
your process.
it's complicated, casting, because you impact the story by what you do and who you are, and I'm always thinking about what kind of a light is his performance going to shine on my series regulars, because that's who my audience is invested in. And how is it going to be different if he gets the job, or if he gets the job, or if he gets the job? And what performance over there is going to impact the way we see the journey of the series regulars? And so it's getting a sense of. I hate it when the director says, "Well, the redhead's the only one who can do it." That's a bad session. But if it leads to a qualitative discussion of, well, if it's him, then that's going to be what the story's going to feel like. And if it's him, it's going to feel more like this. And which one is your intention? The director might ask the writer. And so then there's a qualitative discussion going on, and then you can make an informed. It's still subjective as hell, and you could be right or you could be wrong, it's going to change the story who gets the guest shot.
Mm-hmm.